this is a trail where we famously popped 2 tires in the new Land Rover Defender and had some bad luck in the Hummer EV, and this is a pretty serious trail.
It's not that it's necessarily difficult to get up and over, it's just how much of a hit are you going to take while doing it.
Yeah, and I'm driving a $95,000 rig. Hey everybody, we've got a fantastic off-road video for you today because we have 2 Jeep Wrangler JLs, a 2023 and the brand new refresh 2024, and we're gonna find out, is the 2024 that much better?
But this isn't just any 2023 Wrangler Rubicon. This one is mostly stock except for a really trick air suspension system from AccuAir that allows us to raise and lower the ride height of this vehicle. So in this video, we're gonna test out how that system works.
Both of these Jeeps are equipped with the Extreme Recon package, which means we're running the same tire, a BFG KO2, and we're gonna air them down to about 20 PSI. Case, tell me a little bit about the trail we're doing. What is it called?
Well, this is a trail called Red Cone, which is one of our favorites when the mountains thaw out here in Colorado. And we've had quite a bit of fun on this trail in the past.
Yeah, this is a trail where we famously popped 2 tires in the new Land Rover Defender and had some bad luck in the Hummer EV, and this is a pretty serious trail. It's also probably my all-time favorite trail because it's got a little bit of everything. Starts with a great climb out of the trees. You got some really cool little rock gardens. You also have got this beautiful view over tree line, and then these insane descents down the other side. We got some water to cross. It's just an amazing trail. And for more information, check out Onyx Off-Road. They're our official trail sponsor for navigation. And the great thing is, you know, we are way out of cell service. I got the map downloaded ahead of time on my phone, so we know exactly where we're going. Now, Case, that 2023 Jeep Wrangler, it's a Rubicon, right? And it's got the Extreme Recon package.
Exactly, so I'm on 35s and I've got all of the off-road equipment that you would expect, of course. Sway bar disconnect, front and rear lockers. But that 392 Wrangler that you have there has my absolute favorite feature in any Wrangler, period. What's under the hood?
Oh yeah, man, this is the 470 horsepower, 6.4 liter Hemi V8 powering all 4 wheels. Of course, also a Rubicon Wrangler with sway bar disconnects and lockers front and rear. And on this trail, we're gonna need all of those features because it's about to get pretty challenging. We got a nice easy cruiser for the next mile or so, and then we head to the Gatekeeper, and we're gonna see which of these 2 Wranglers performs better because I'm up about 250 pounds on you. This is a 5,500 pound Jeep, which is just pretty mind boggling. I'm also up about 30 grand. So this is gonna hurt a lot more if I shove it into a tree.
Yeah, long gone are the days of Jeeps being simple and lightweight, but I have to say, just listening to that V8 crawl over these rocks is such a cool sensation. I think I'd take the trade-off.
Pretty early on in the trail, we make it to the Gatekeeper, and the Gatekeeper are these large boulders ingrained into the soil. Probably doesn't look very big on camera, but when you're facing them in person, you're looking at a boulder probably 3 feet by 2 feet, one on each side, and then you have this immovable, essentially, mountain. Now this has taken the lives of many wheels. Nathan completely destroyed a Wrangler wheel on this. We did some pretty serious scraping on the Defender in this. I mean, every vehicle that goes through here takes a little bit differently and usually ends up with at least a little bit of a souvenir.
Yeah, and you know, it's funny, even being here in person, much less on camera, to walk up to, they don't necessarily look all that big, but we've seen kitted out off-roaders, I mean, as nice as a Tacoma off-road build can get, absolutely destroy its bedside on this rock here. It's not that it's necessarily difficult to get up and over for a kitted out off-roader like one of these. It's just how much of a hit are you going to take while doing it from that rock right there.
Yeah, and I'm driving a $95,000 rig. So I'll have you guide me up, Case, and we'll see how it goes.
Happy I'm not you.
Attempting this in the 392. Let me get my off-road camera going. Front facing. Pulled out all the stops now, so front and rear locker engaged. I got the sway bar disconnected. Let's see how this 35-inch tall tire equipped Wrangler does on the Gatekeeper. It's amazing that this is a stock vehicle. You know, when I started off-roading, 33 was a pretty big tire. Then 35s.
So far, I've lined up with the leftmost part of the rock.
35s are pretty insane. Now 35s are available from the factory with a warranty in a new Wrangler. Okay, this is probably where it's going to get a little tricky, Case. So scraping the underside. That's on the skid plate now.
Still got a solid 8 inches before your wheel hits the rock on the other side.
Wow. Now in the Hummer, when I was out here, it took us about 25 minutes to get that vehicle up this obstacle, and that was with a considerable amount of rock stacking in the 392. A little bit of underbody scraping, but you know, the throttle delivery on this V8 is so precise. A little bit of left foot braking. Take it nice and easy. Trust the engineers did the job with the skid plates, and we walked right up it. That's incredible. Just mind-blowing.
All right, I think it's high time I engage the lockers, both front and rear. The other thing that I'm going to do here, because this air suspension is adjustable, is that I'm going to go into my ride height position 3, which should give me a little bit of extra clearance and
All right, Case, so tell me a little bit about that AccuAir suspension setup, because compared to what I'm rolling on the stock 392, that setup is pretty cool.
Yeah, so the cool thing here is that, so right now, basically I'm at ride height position 2, which is the normal driving height. What I can do is click 3, and I can pick the Jeep up even further, which is going to be pretty nice to have here on this obstacle, because as we heard, you were scraping quite a bit going over the rocks, and hopefully I should be able to mitigate some of that.
What's really interesting to me, even from watching you off-road here for the first half mile of this trail, is you haven't really lost any articulation by going to the 4-corner air suspension setup. You still get all the benefits of the solid axle. It's really articulating nicely.
All right, Case looking good on that line. I'm pretty happy with that. A
Now,
little bit passenger. Yep, just like that. Nice.
Tommy has run this trail many times. He's also a Jeep guy. I'm kind of the Corvette
Yeah, we're
guy.
just gonna crawl it straight up.
So
Save about an inch of extra clearance, a little bit more passenger. Nice.
yeah, I'm going to be relying heavily on his instruction. Still, just a little bit of scraping, but that was pretty good.
So in preset number 2, this Jeep has the same amount of clearance as an Extreme Recon Wrangler, which is what I have. Go to 3, get another inch or so, and that inch was all the difference between dragging your underside over that rock and making it. And now you can go back into 2, get the nice squishy ride, and keep going on the trail.
I mean, that was impressive because the 392 got over it just fine, but it scraped a decent amount, and we scraped just a little bit on this AccuAir Jeep. That was impressive.
So okay, so let's talk about some of the differences between the 2023 model year JL and the 2024 model year, this mid-cycle refresh. First of all, the grille is different on certain models. What do you think of this new grille?
I think it's actually a really good look. I mean, obviously this is not an all-new vehicle, it's just a refresh, and they don't look dramatically different as a result, but that new grille is enough to key you in that is a new model, and I think it's sharp.
Well, the other advantage too is that with this new option for a integrated winch, you still get adequate engine cooling, right? Because the grill's a little bit kind of shorter and fatter, but it still allows you to suck in air above the winch, and that's another big change, which is actually, I think, pretty good value in the Wrangler lineup, is you can now spec it not only with steel bumpers from the factory, but an integrated Warn winch.
Which are really nice things to have. The other thing that I like about what they did with the grill on the new versions of the JL is that it helps separate the JL from the JK a little bit further, because a lot of people struggle to tell the two apart. Now it's a lot easier.
Oh yeah, that's a great point. Never really thought about that. Now mechanically, the Willys model gets a rear locking diff, which previously was reserved exclusively for the Rubicon, so you can now get that rear locker on the Willys, which I think is fantastic. And now certain trims also tow 5,000 pounds.
Although, funny enough, the trim that you have with the big powerful V8 doesn't tow 5,000 pounds, which is surprising because you would think the most powerful model would be the most capable at pulling a trailer.
Yeah, that's right, which is a little bit of a head scratcher. You have to get the V6 in the Rubicon. You know, you got the new full float rear axle, and that's the only one that tows 5,000 pounds, which is a little bit of a head scratcher, you know, considering that this V8 makes way more power than your little V6 there. But, oh, I don't love the look of this very much. I think I'm gonna need a locker here. Oh, that was bad. That sucked.
Yeah, sometimes the difficult features, they sneak up on you a little bit. A little bit of scrapage, but not too bad.
So you can see that lower shock mount there took a pretty good hit on the AccuAir JL, but luckily the shock position and all that is factory, and the bags are pretty tucked up high, so none of that was damaged during that event.
Tommy, I love your badass quad pipes, but that's one situation where they're not so helpful.
Yeah, they hang down on both sides, so I got a little bit of a trail souvenir there for sure. And
yeah.
Look, same thing with the lower shock.
Same thing with the shock, yeah.
Yeah, those do hang down pretty low. All right, we made it to the rock garden. Got a really steep incline here with these boulders kind of at offset positions. Let's see how the 392 does going up this section. Now, having this 470 horsepower V8 sounds so incredibly cool. You know, I've got so much power under my right foot. It doesn't feel twitchy though, but quite honestly, in a lot of these instances, I'd probably prefer to have either the Pentastar V6 or the 2-liter turbo, because it's just a lighter weight engine, and I feel the mass of this monster V8 over a lot of these obstacles where I wouldn't necessarily feel that same experience or have that same experience in the V6 or the 2-liter. Not to say it isn't incredible and impressive, but I feel like in some instances having that, well, pretty much every instance, having that lighter weight Jeep would be beneficial out here on this trail.
Now, the sway bar disconnect on these Jeeps does take a little while sometimes to disconnect. I got that one disconnected at the very beginning of this trail, but the lockers switch on and off so easily. And I do kind of wish that the sway bar on these Jeeps was more like the sway bar on the Bronco, which just engages and disengages so easily. But at the end of the day, it still works just fine. And it's amazing how capable these are, even just straight out of the box with 35s, lockers, disconnecting sway bar. Not much that they can't do.
All right, so for this next test, we are going to max out the articulation on both Jeeps. We've got these really deep elephant holes on this really tight and kind of nasty part of the trail. So sway bar is disconnected on both. Case is gonna go into his middle ride height, which is the same as this Jeep. And we're gonna see, do you lose any articulation by going with the AccuAir setup? So for low, I'm gonna do rear locker on this one. Yeah, this is an almost impossible part of the trail with an open diff vehicle because you just pick up tires, and even with the solid axle, I bet there's a good chance that we're gonna be beyond fully articulated. Yeah, right about there. You can actually feel it lifting wheels off the ground. So this is where solid axles shine. People are always like, there's no advantage to solid axles. In this instance, there is an advantage to solid axles because you get the maximum amount of wheel contact with the surface at any given time. Lock up that rear locker so we can spin both rear wheels at the same speed. And look at that. Just like that. We made it out of those gnarly, gnarly, gnarly elephant holes. All right, let me give the camera to Case, and we'll let him give it a go.
All right. Now I get to follow Tommy up and see how the air suspension system articulates, which, I mean, judging by the majority of what we've done today, seems to be doing pretty well. Now is really the best test of it. So let me straighten up a little bit here. This is such a cool section of this trail because it does just perfectly demonstrate articulation on a vehicle. And we've been able to do some really good comparisons between some different machines up this. And it's also just such a cool feeling these Jeeps articulate. You do gotta love that about solid axles. And this feels really solid here with the AccuAir suspension. I'm impressed. How did that look?
Dude, freaking killed it.
Yeah?
Yeah, that's cool. I mean, I don't think it felt like you lifted up slightly in the same points. Felt like you got the same kind of clearance.
Yeah, I mean, from the driver's seat, it felt good. Obviously, I wasn't able to be outside on both of them and see how they stack up, but on video, we'll be able to compare.
Yeah, so not only do we get more clearance in 3, height position 3 on a really hard obstacle, stick it back out into 2, and you don't lose any articulation. Let's talk about some of the other changes you get for the 2024 model year in the Jeep Wrangler. All Jeep Wranglers get this new standard screen over 12 inches, which is much higher resolution, looks much better than the 8.4 in the previous pre-facelift Wrangler. It's also running the new Uconnect 5 system. It's got some new integration with technology in there. It looks really good. They've changed the vents too, so now they're square instead of circles. So all that's good stuff. They also gave it power seats, which is kind of a cool little luxury to have, especially if you're spending over $90,000 for one. You also get lumbar adjustment on the passenger side, which I've been asking for a long time. However, the seat comfort still isn't very good. I'm about 6 feet tall, and to really be comfortable in this vehicle, I have to still move the seat back all the way on its tracks. And there's just not enough room between me and the dashboard here. It feels a little bit claustrophobic, so I wish there's more slide back in the seat still, and they're still just a little too firm and park bench like. But we have seen some technology improvements, not only in terms of the seating, but the screens, and also new safety technology in terms of airbags, as well as standard adaptive cruise on Sport S and above, stuff like that. So the Wrangler's evolving into the 21st century. Did they do enough to compete with the Bronco? I'll let you decide in the comment section below. Well, we made it to the top of Red Cone, named as such because of the red elements in the earth. What an amazing trail.
Yeah, this is such a killer place to be at. every summer that we come here, and even as many times as you've been up this trail, it never ceases to amaze.
And it changes every time, which is cool.
Yeah.
Now, Case, are you impressed with that AccuAir setup on that Wrangler?
I really am. I like the versatility of it because you could hook that Jeep up to a trailer and it will auto level. You can make it easier to get in and out of, and you can even make it easier to get that into your garage. And then you can lift it up past where even that 392 is at and have tons of clearance for obstacles like we saw.
And would you say it's pretty comfy?
Oh, it's super compliant. Yeah,
Nice.
It's really nice.
That's awesome. Well, you know, the 2024 Wrangler really impressed me, especially that 392 with that deep V8 burble. Here's the rub on the 24. If I was waiting for the 24, you know, if I was thinking, should I get a 23, should I get a 24? Definitely get the 24. However, if you have a 23 right now, it's probably,
upgrade, yeah.
probably not worth it. Yeah,
No, I wouldn't say so. Other cool thing about the suspension that I forgot to mention because we haven't gotten to that part of the trail yet, but I can use that system to air up the tires because there's a compressor and a tank built in.
Well, we'll show that when it's time, but we're not quite off. We have a bonus. We got this probably 25, 30 degree shale downslope before we can get off the trail. It gets pretty intense out there, so I'll go first, Case, and then if I don't die, you can go after me.
Right on.
All right, folks, so we are going down this hill. Let me get my inclinometer out here and see what kind of steepness we're looking at. Actually, I can go into the off-road pages here. Pitch and roll, here we go. I got it locked into first gear. I could use the off-road crawl control, or what Jeep's version of that. Ford calls it the trail pimp or something. But we're going down this super steep hill, loose shale. This is a place you don't want to stop on. You want to maintain just a little bit of momentum. 16 degrees is what I got. Locked her into first gear. I got 6.4 liters worth of Hemi holding me back. Oh man, this part's looking a little scary here. All right, Case, about to get kind of scary here, so definitely want to take that dip kind of at a little bit of an angle, or head on, I should say. 21 degrees. Yeah. Being held in by my seatbelt now. That's all the seatbelt, just leaning forward. These KO2s are doing a great job of crawling at the earth. We got 4 degrees roll on this too, but just kind of trying to keep about 6 miles an hour worth of momentum. First gear's holding me there. Feel and I can hear the tires straining at the rocks to keep the vehicle moving. Oh, RPMs are rising a little bit. Come on, baby, come on. Oh, I can hear that exhaust. Here, let me turn on my baffles. The raccoon button is on, and now the baffles are open and the exhaust looks like a raccoon, the little loudness button, and we made it down that first hill. That's awesome. So that's the scariest part. The Jeep absolutely killed it, and yeah, even without using any of the off-road assistance devices, we made it down no problem. Got her locked into first gear. Got a nice burble out the exhaust. That's 19 degrees already. It's 23. Oh my gosh. 18, 19, 20 on this loose shale too. That's pretty nuts. Holding first gear though, holding strong, not touching the brake at all. That's how much torque this, or how much displacement this 392 has. 21. Oh man, you really feel the weight coming down this hill though. 25. Oh man. Tugging at the seatbelt. 21. Wow, this thing is amazing what it is capable of. That is awesome. Woo! Upshift it into second, just like that. Wow, look at all the snow. So that's called Webster Pass. It's another road you can take to get out of here, but not for a hot sec. Oh, looks like we got some goats out here too. Check that out. We made it down. We're ready to air up, and in the 392, you know, I got my little ARB single air compressor here that I'm constantly forgetting because I always have different Jeeps that I'm airing up and down. But Case with the AccuAir system has a built-in compressor that runs the air suspension setup, and you can actually tap into that compressor to fill up your tires. So I think you can do it even quicker, because I got to hook this up to the battery and run it all over. He's just going to go whoop, and off he goes.
Here in the back of the AccuAir Jeep, I have a really cool setup. So right here you can see this airline with a chuck on the end of it to fill up the tires. I've even got a nozzle that I can use to spray some dust off, clean things up a little bit if I need to. All packs nicely into that bag, and then it plugs in right over here.
Well, Casey's system, yeah. Case is already done with 2 tires, 1 tire. I'm still standing here like an idiot trying to fill out this first one, and my little clip broke, so when I let go, look at that. That AccuAir system with the tank is pretty impressive on how quick you can fill up those tires. Jeez. Well guys, a fantastic day out at the trail. Case, did you have fun?
Oh, absolutely. I mean, this is about as perfect as a day of work gets, and both of these Jeeps are so capable. I mean, the 392 in that one, super killer, fun to listen to as it goes along the trail, and then suspension on this gives you some pretty cool utility.
Now the suspension is expensive, it's like $7K, but if you want the ultimate in utility, like you said, you load this Jeep up with bumpers and a roof rack and a tent and all your friends, it's always going to be level, whereas this Jeep, right, it's going to sag, you're going to have to mess with the suspension a little bit to bring it back up to that height. But whatever route you go, both tons of fun out on the trail.